to Law Talk series. My name is Precious Studio Kusanjia, and on this episode I'm going to be giving 10 tips on how to invest in real estate. Few weeks ago on Springville Realtors Facebook page, I did a live video and I gave 5 tips on how to invest in real estate. I was actually to do another 5 to complete the section the following week, but time has been so beautiful, so to say. So my audience have been like, Precious, why don't you just do us a comprehensive video instead of this video that you're doing bit by bit? So hey guys, here is the video on 10 tips on how to invest in real estate. First, everybody on the surface of the earth, irrespective of his financial status or status in the society, wants to own a piece of the earth. Everybody wants a land to call his or her own, a house, a home to call his or her own, whether the person wants to live in it, use it for commercial purpose, or even pass it down to his or her children. Everybody wants to have a property tied to his or her name, and that's because property, you don't just buy property. Yes, you give money in exchange for land or property, but property is an investment. It's a lifetime investment. It's a leverage. It's a way of creating wealth for yourself and for your children, born and unborn, or your generations yet to come. So real estate cannot be compared to investing money and buying shares in any company, or having a fixed deposit account, or having a savings account, or even investing in any company. Real estate appreciates on a daily basis, and the return on investment is overwhelming, and that is why everybody somehow wants to invest in real estate. Now the problem is not just this, making up your mind to invest. The problem is in how do you invest. There are procedures, there are things you should take cognizance of, there are steps that you should take, and this is what this video is all about. So here with us, the 10 steps on how you should invest in real estate. First thing you have to do as a prospect investor is to have a budget. You just have to have a budget. You cannot just wake up in the middle of the night and say you want to invest in real estate, you want to buy a land, you want to buy a house. You have to have a budget. You have to have an idea of how much you have. You cannot be earning like 300,000 and you want to invest in a property of 30 million. Where on earth are you going to get that kind of money from, except if you've been having past savings, life savings, or you want to get a mortgage from a mortgage bank, or you want to get a loan. But in one word, what I'm saying is you have to have a budget that is commensurate with your income, that is commensurate with what you're earning, what you've been saving, and what you have on ground. When you contact any real estate consultant and you say you want to buy a property, the first question the person is going to ask you is, what is your budget? So guys, you just have to have a budget. Now the second thing you have to do is to contact a real estate expert. Please, I did not say a traditional real estate agent. I said a real estate expert, someone that is a professional in that field, someone that will take you through the transaction from start to finish, someone that will protect your interest as a buyer, not the person that is just after his 10 or 15% commission. So you have to contact a real estate expert because the person knows the market. We are all experts in our area of specialty, and because that is not your area of specialty, we need somebody that is in the market to advise you rightly. So contact a real estate expert. And the third thing you have to do is to go for an inspection. Please, you just have to go for an inspection. You have to have an idea of what you want to throw in your hard, or where you want to throw in your hard-earned money into. Whether you are outside the country or not. If you're outside the country, you can tell your real estate consultant to do you a live video, take a live pictures where he or she, that is your consultant, is actually in that location, so that you can have something to hold. All right, so you have to go for an inspection, or you can do it through a family friend, your family member, or a close relative, or a colleague, or whether by proxy or in person. You just have to have an idea of where you want to throw in your money into, not even invest your money into, so that you won't think you want to buy something else and you paid for something else, and by the time you're being shown, oh, this is not what I had in mind. No, go for an inspection, whether through proxy or by yourself. Now, the fourth thing you should do is to contact a lawyer. Now, this cannot be overemphasized. Few years back, a person met me and said, oh, he wanted me to prepare a deed of assignment for him. He had been on that property for a while. And I said, okay, fine, I'm going to do a due diligence. And he said, oh, Precious, you don't need to do that. I've been on that property for years. So there's no need for that. Just do me a deed of assignment. I said, Mr. Man, I cannot do a deed of assignment if I do not carry out a due diligence on this property. Long story short, he went ahead and met somebody else. I don't know how he went about it, but long story short, few weeks ago, I think March actually, he came to my office and met me with a client of mine, and lo and behold, where he bought, they had already sold to somebody else before they sold the property to him, and afterwards had sold to somebody else. So we are actually in courts now. What I'm saying is very important. I actually wrote about that on my personal blog, and I titled it "Penny Wise, Pound Foolish." A lot of people tend to cut corners. A lot of people tend to use the back door. Oh, I don't want to pay money. Lawyers, they collect so much. I'm not going to emphasize on that because I'm a lawyer. But the truth of the matter is, who stands to lose or gain? Whether you pay the lawyer or not, the lawyer has nothing to lose. You're the one that is going to lose a whole lot. You cannot, because of few thousands that you're going to pay, or few hundreds of thousands that you're going to pay, and lose millions of naira or millions of dollars that you are going to invest in a property. So there, you have to contact a lawyer. The lawyer will do a due diligence, give you a formal legal advice and reports, tell you, oh, go ahead and buy this property, or no, don't go ahead and buy this property, search for somebody else. So search for something else. So please don't be penny wise, pound foolish. Contact your lawyer. Now, you'll be so lucky. You'll be the luckiest person on earth where your lawyer is also a real estate expert. So meaning that you're going to use one stone to kill two birds. Irrespective of it, contact your lawyer. Now, you have to know the topography of the property. Now, that's the sixth one. That's not the topography of the property you intend to invest in. The texture of the soil, of the land. Is it waterlogged? Is it 80% waterlogged, 70% waterlogged, 100% dry? You just have to know, and you need to get to involve an expert. You need to involve architects. You need to involve surveyors. You just have to know the topography of the property that you intend to buy. If it is a land, that is, if it is a land, you have to know the topography so that you will know. Oh, if it's waterlogged, I'm going to sand fill, so that you have all this in mind. So you have to know the topography of the land that you intend to invest in. And the seventh thing you need to do is that you have to decide on the location that you want and pay ASAP. Now, why am I saying this? That's because if, for example, you have a budget of 10 million naira, you want to buy a property of 10 million, you say, oh, I need something at in Lekki or Ibeju Lekki, or I need something at Ikoyi or Ikorodu or wherever you are. Now you're going to get a list of properties. You're supposed to go for all the inspections so that you can make up your mind. Now, if you're like, oh, in 3 months' time, don't worry, I'm going to decide. I've not yet decided. In 6 months' time, I'm going to decide. I've not yet decided. You will be shocked that by the time you're ready, the property has appreciated, which you know, or it's no longer available. So please decide on the location that you want to invest in and pay your money ASAP, and pay that money directly to the company that is developing that property. That is, if you're buying into an estate scheme, please do not pay your money to any consultant. Don't pay your money to any agent. If you're buying into an estate scheme, pay the money directly to the company. It's the company that is selling the land. It's the company that owns the land. Every other person might be marketing or advertising for the company, so that you will have the company to hold on to. Now, the eighth thing you have to do is you have to understand the terms and condition of the property you're investing into, and this mostly has to do with properties that are estate scheme that are being developed by companies and are like an estate or are estates. So these properties, you have to understand the terms and conditions, and your lawyer will help you go through it. And that's why I said the role of your lawyer in property transaction cannot be overemphasized. Now, there are a lot of estates that have different policies. Some will tell you you cannot resell. Some will say you can resell, but you have to go through them. Some will tell you they will take a percentage. Some will tell you, oh, if you're doing installmental payments, and if you default in one, you have a penalty. You see, these things you have to know them. You have to read through them and understand them, so that you can decide that, oh, I want to pay my money or I don't pay money. So this actually comes before you pay your money. So you go through the terms and conditions and you understand it, you're okay with it. And let me just mention here, do not expect the terms and conditions to be 100% in your favor, because these property developers are also there to make money. So it has to be 50-50, both sides. But whatever it is, understand the terms and conditions, understand the date of assignment, the proposed one, because your lawyer is going to explain to you, okay, this award is in your deed of assignment. Ordinarily, your lawyer is supposed to be the one to draft the deed of assignment, because it's an estate scheme. They tend to use their in-house lawyers. But irrespective of that, if you use your lawyer, he or she will be able to go through it and explain to you and all that. So when you've made your payments, you have to get your documentation. Please get your documentation. And documentation is like you're getting married, you don't have a marriage certificate, or you get to buy something from somewhere and you don't have a receipt. How can you tie that transaction to that person? Now, a lot of people tell me, Precious, I cannot buy a land of 2.5 million and I'm spending 800,000 or 1.2 million for documentation. Hello, you have to spend. Real estate, investing in real estate is a whole lot. It's not child's play. You have to be serious about it. You have to. It has to do with discipline, self-determination, and sacrifice. Your documentation is what says this company sold to you. This person sold to you. And your documentation are your deed of assignment, your survey plan, or contract of sale, or your receipts. Your Form 1C if it's in Lagos. So you have to have your documentation. And the final tip on this episode is that perfect your title. Now, perfection of title in layman language is registering your property with the government. We all know that every property in this Nigeria belongs to the government, whether the state government in an urban, if the property is in an urban area, or in the local government, if it is in a rural area. But the truth of the matter is, by virtue of the land use act, every property is invested in the government. And for you to be recognized by the government as the owner of that property, you have to register governor's consent, certificate of occupancy, that's COO. Now, why do you need to do this? That is because if the government decides to take over any property, and let me just tell you here, whether he is a COO or not, the government can decide whether he's an committed acquisition or uncommitted acquisition property. The government can decide that we want to use this place for a public hospital, and they can take over it. If they do, the only thing that entitles you to compensation is that you have perfected your title. You have registered your title with the government that I am now the owner of this property. Where you do not do that, the government cannot compensate you. And perfection, apart from government taking over the property, which is most unlikely in many cases, is so that the person that sold to you will not be able to sell to somebody else. There are instances where sellers sell to 10 persons, 5 persons. These are life stories. Once you have perfected your title, you're registered with the government, whether governor's consent or you've gotten your COO, and where the property has already gotten a COO, you do your governor's consent. That property cannot be sold to another person. If peradventure they do, and you go to court, at the end of the day, the property belongs to you because you're the one that has the registered title. So here, guys, always perfect your title, and your lawyer is the one that will take you through this process. Your lawyer that will do this perfection. I hope with this few points of mine, I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you that property investing in real estate is no child's play. You have to do it judiciously. You don't have to cut corners, use backdoor, or try to use escape routes, because at the end of the day, you will be the one to suffer the consequences. Don't go and buy what my friends will say, court case property. Thank you very much for watching. Always remember to do the right thing, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Law Talk TV, and hit the notification button. Thank you for watching. Always remember that information is not just key, it is the key, and ignorance is no excuse in law. See you next time. Bye-bye.
I call you baby. Some people don't know I call you baby. They say I'm crazy. No be my photo, you drive me crazy. You better see they do me. I carry your matter for my head.